And now, Kyle and Steven present another episode of the Go F Yourself podcast.
It's Fix.
Really? Well, that's embarrassing. The Go Fix Yourself podcast.
Welcome to the Go Fix Yourself podcast, the podcast we do in our 30s to fix what we learned in our 20s. I am your co-host, Steven, and sitting digitally across from me is the commissioner, the dick kick commissioner, the daddy sweat CEO himself, Mr. Kyle Redding. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I've just realized something, that I've had very few nicknames as a child, and I've only acquired a bunch of them like in the last probably 7
I was going to say,
years.
man, we've literally given you like a ton of nicknames.
You know, I had this nickname when I worked on the slope, and for those of you that don't know, that's basically on top of the Alaska in the cold, and they called me the Jammer.
What? Is that like the whole jelly and jam joke?
You would think so. And if you don't know that joke, maybe don't look it up.
Don't look it up.
Yeah. No, because I used to have to put in a lot of like data crunching kind of stuff. And so they're like, oh, just get Kyle those papers. He'll jam them in, the computer.
Oh, you were just jamming stuff and other things.
But it slowly became a sexual innuendo.
Oh, right. Clearly,
For
that's
all
where
the
my
guys
mind
up
went.
there, they're like, oh, watch out for Jammer behind you. And then the night shift guy that would come in, they started calling him Rammer.
Oh,
and so we had Jammer and Rammer.
because double teaming it.
And I was like, I got a nickname. It's not my favorite, but I got one.
I was gonna say, do you have a favorite nickname?
No, like I always feel like I'm giving people nicknames. I like to, like, if I see somebody, I got to take their name and I got to do something with it, make them feel like you're that guy. And so I never get the nicknames.
Yeah, I see with a last name Cornfield, I was always getting them. But but whatever bounces off me back to them, right? It didn't bother me. But there was one nickname that I loved, actually, and I even like used it as my email, and I still use it as like some of my usernames on, like, I think Reddit is maybe my username, but it's Stevel Knievel. That's still to this day, my favorite nickname I've ever had was Stevel Knievel.
I was wondering if we're gonna have to do with like bunny trails or something, because
the bunny trailer, the bunny, the
bunny
trailer.
trail explorer. I had a couple people actually tell me that they didn't know what that meant, and they're glad
we're learning
that they know
stuff. We're learning stuff. I
had to tell everybody at my gym what it was at CB training, and nobody knew what it was. And so
how many people were there? Was it just you and Chris, or was it like actually like was there co-ed?
4 other girls, I think there. The gym
interesting. So how awkward was that to say that?
I don't know. I mean, we all have hair. Like, it's just not that weird.
Yeah. Well, I love it because we're learning stuff as we go.
We're learning
podcast.
and we're educating.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of.
And we're getting a bunch of nicknames. I mean, we're doing things, and to follow those things, you can go on our Instagram. I feel like we've been pretty active on there.
You've been
the last few weeks.
We got lots of videos coming up now, and we're gonna start pounding our audience.
Dude, I got excited.
Jam our audience.
I think I got excited because, like, people, my whole brain has been in like create content, and it's like you got to do one long form content and then take a bunch of little small pieces from that. And I'm like, well, I'm not making any long form content. I was like, oh wait, yes I am. And so with this podcast, it's just like. I grab like 4 little clips and I just quickly edit them and put them on Instagram or TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Facebook. And so it's just kind of fun, actually. It's kind of like, because I used to get down and out about the algorithm, I think.
Sure.
And I still do from time to time. Like, oh, the algorithm hates me on Instagram. It's I used to have so many more likes or so many more views, but now it's like I'm not gonna let that get me down. I'm gonna terrorize this algorithm. I'm gonna jam it. I'm gonna jam content. They're gonna call me the jammer after this.
Yeah, you're gonna have to earn that nickname. It's hard to get.
Just you wait, baby.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
It's like if only we had been like producing a 60-minute piece of content that we could like take from each week. Like I
think the thing was we weren't filming it right at that time.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like a couple weeks ago was like, we've been filming it here and there and here and there. But I was like, we are going to do this every week, film it, post it on YouTube, either the day of, the podcast or the day after or whatever. It's like, we are going to do it. And I think it was just that having that mindset change. I was like, well, yes, now that we're filming it, I can make little content from it. And like, we're forcing ourselves to, spend an extra couple minutes and setting up a little, set. Now, right now we're digital, just because, it's actually a little easier.
It is easier when you don't have to drive somewhere, set up all that stuff. And
we got little studios in our own room, our own houses. And it's like, we do lose the little bit of like the interaction.
Yeah.
Yes. The connection.
But we can't pretend that we'll always live in the same place forever.
Yes.
We just can't. Like, who knows what's down the road. Like I said, I got some pretty heavy Super Bowl squares that I'm involved with because I like to gamble.
Wait, what do you mean Super Bowl squares? I when it comes to sports, man, I am so illiterate. I don't follow. I don't watch.
That's fine.
I only watch the big ones.
Yeah, so squares are beautiful for this. So what it is picture a board, right?
Okay.
And it depends on how many squares they want to do. So the one I'm in is it's 100 squares. So a 10 by 10.
So like an Excel spreadsheet, basically.
Sure. Yep. 10 by 10. And what they do is they randomly, they put down numbers down one side and numbers down the top.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I believe it's 0 to.
Oh, so it's scores.
It's the last digit of the score. So you basically get randomly drawn to be on a square. So you could get two numbers. You get the number 4 for the Bills and number 7 for the Rams.
Oh, so each team is on top or on the side?
Yep. So the teams are split. So one's on top.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so if it lands on if the score at the end of the first quarter matches your two numbers you have, then you're the winner of the first quarter, and then their second quarter. Or halftime, third quarter, and then final is usually the big payout.
Where do you find these things? Like, are you on gambling.com? Gambling Alaska? It's illegal.
Well, if anybody finds out,
yeah, it's not like nobody's listening.
Like it's on a podcast. Every workplace generally does this. Like, there's so many workplace squares.
So, how much money could you like? Well, how much money does he put in? Let's say that first.
Let's just say if I am going to win, it would be in the 5-digit range.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That was way more than I expected. How? What? I mean, like, how much?
You can get in anything from like $1 square game to.
But see, that also wasn't the question I asked though. How much did you put in? How much?
3 figures.
Oh, okay. So you're going. You're like, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna come in hard. I'm gonna jam my money into this thing.
But realistically, I'm not like. Oh God! I think of those little gack things where you used to stick your fingers in them, and it's like, yeah, and then all
right, for anybody with headphones on right now,
yeah,
that was gross in my headphones.
Yeah, that's. It's like a fleshlight for kids.
Oh jeez. Oh god, that was like pre fleshlight. I bet you that's where the guy came up with the idea. He's like, I want to stick my wiener in this.
He probably.
I wish it was a little longer.
You know whose dad invented that?
Whose dad?
Maybe. Yeah.
Do I know him? Oh, Aubrey. That's right. I did know that.
Yeah, the guy that started on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, his dad, I guess, if I remember correctly, like invented the fleshlight.
Yes, I do remember that. And I used to listen to Aubrey's podcast a lot too. Until I think it was until the episode where he talked about his open marriage, which I thought was very
right. Which failed.
Yeah, but also
failed big time.
Why would he even think that was a good idea? Like it was all her idea.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, so
a lot of people do.
I mean, we don't have to go long into this, but telling people that don't know, Aubrey Marcus is a very big podcast entrepreneur. He ran this supplement company called On It, invested by Joe Rogan, a bunch of other celebrities, and very, very successful guy. And anyway, he was dating this model, and they were going to get married, and she was like, "We're going to have an open marriage, so I can still date other people as we're married." And he's like, "That was really hard for me to get on board, but I really understood that it was." I was like, "I don't know, my guy." I was like, even then, I was like, "I don't think that's not a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea." There is a reason why monogamy is a thing. A wedding is for two people.
I don't know. Like, I get both sides of it because, if you look back, like Animal Kingdom, like there's not a lot of monogamy going on.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, we are animals, but we are also like able to have a conversation. Animals. We're way more advanced animals. Yeah,
sure. But and you could look at the goal of people is to procreate, and I don't know.
I guess it's weird. It's a weird thing.
Curious. Yeah. I was curious about it because he was talking about it from the aspect of his ego was getting in the way of letting her. She would hook up with like these football players and all this stuff. And
I just don't feel comfortable with that. I felt bad for him. Anyway, well,
he's doing okay. I don't.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing okay. Anyways, well, that was fun. Anything else like you want to talk about? How was the last week? Anything fun you did real quick?
I've just been hitting the gym hard, and I finally found a group of people that like now it's turning into a competition.
I like
who
that.
Can work out the most, or like who can.
That.
And I needed that because I was kind of feeling a little lazy after January, and now we've got some newer people that come to my class, and I just call them the Lululemon girls. Haley and Maddie, and they're always like, well, I got to work out like today and tomorrow, and they invite me to the workouts. And so it's like, man, I feel like I feel like a sissy, maybe that's the wrong word, when they're like, yeah, we're gonna work out, why can't you? I'm like,
see, that's that accountability we were talking about last week.
I know,
it's solid. That's the good stuff, man. That it's like, oh man, well, they texted me, they're going. I don't have any good excuse to not do that today.
Yeah, and so when they hit up Chris and have him open up the gym on a day where we're not supposed to have class, then it's like there's also that like, like they're going out of the way to make sure like, like now I'm kind of pressured to go because like Chris is going to be there when he doesn't need to be there. They want to get on the podcast because they think they could boost our ratings.
Who wants to get on the podcast?
These two girls that work at Lulu, Haley and Maddie, and they are convinced that they will send our ratings through the roof.
Why? Do they have a good reason? Just talk about that real quick. What's their reason?
Their reason is because they said so, and they'll show us.
Yeah,
so
not a good reason. You know what? Like, if they're listening right now, just
I'll make sure they
give us a good reason, and then and then find your own microphone, find your own. That's the one thing I feel like I would love to start doing guests. And we've been talking about this for a while. I would love to do this, but I also would like to think like, I think this is doing this digitally is opening us to actually being able to do this with other guests.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited about that kind of, this is our second time doing this. And so I think once we do that, we can open it up to guests. We can open it up to other people. They just have to have like,
just some basic equipment.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't know. Maybe we would have to think about that. But yes, down the road, of course, let's have people. I already have a list of people. And
Aubrey Marcus, he's coming.
His dad. I'd love to talk to him.
Oh yeah.
Were you inspired by Gak? A Nickelodeon toy?
Yeah. I got some Gak right here. Is this what did it? Is this inspired you? You know what you know why he made it, right? Why
No,
he made
why
the
did he
fleshlight?
why?
Because his wife
I love how
had-
we keep going back to this rabbit trail.
it's important.
I think it is. I've never
Um,
seen one in real life. Have you?
Sure. Well, like in person or in real life?
Like
I haven't
in
touched
person.
one.
In person. You have touched one?
There was no.
Was it yours?
There was people up on the,
Was it someone
there was
else's?
people up on the slope that would like leave them out on their like clean them off in the sink kind of thing.
Oh my gosh.
The slope was a different place.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Like you'd walk in
I
there,
regret
putting in
asking
one like,
that.
"Hey, what's up?"
Just
doing my dishes. Doing my dishes.
Yeah, just getting in there.
Anyways,
Oh,
I
man.
believe his wife had either a procedure done or something with pregnancy, something that required her to take a break from relations with her husband for a long period of time, like 6 to 8 months. And he was like, well, I'm not going to cheat on you. So I'm going to vent something. And
Interesting. I mean, I guess good for him.
yeah,
Good for him.
Quite the invention. Anyways, so we kind of dabbled all over the place there.
What an intro. What an intro.
I like it.
Do you remember, I think this was a while ago on a podcast, we talked about having a word for the year. Do you remember us talking about that? It's like basically at the beginning of the year.
Safe word.
Yeah. Like end it now. Like bananas. That means
I was thinking
just
cucumbers.
get out. Cucumbers?
Yeah, it's amazing. We've both thought of phallic shaped foods.
It's all that talk that we just did about fleshlight.
Yeah.
No, so my mom always talked about like this, and so we would do this as a family, and is like, and stop me if this is repeating a lot, but I think this is okay. Every year has like a one word thing, right? Or more than one word. Meaning like one year we talked about it, and they were like, what's one word that you would like to encompass this and this next year? And so I think for me it was like one year was like change. Like I want to change, or I want to change the way I run my business. I want to change what I do. I want to change my morning routine, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, right. So it's like, I just kind of want to be thinking about that. And so I haven't, I just thought of this week. And I finally came up with my one word. Here we are in February, and I finally came up with my one word.
Yeah, you're too late, man. You got to wait till next year.
Nope. I still got 11 months left. That's a pretty good percentage left. And so my one word, I think I'm encompassing this year, and it's going to be a weird one, but I think I have a good like reason to back it up, is uncomfortable. The word is uncomfortable, right? And I think because, and it was only this week that I really started thinking about this more seriously, is because I have been like unmotivated to do anything. Right. We have all this time on our hands. We have a considerable amount of things that we could be doing extra that we don't. I've been unmotivated. I don't want to do it. I don't have enough time. I'd rather watch TV. I need to relax. I need to sleep more. I need to sleep in. But it's really what I found out, like what I'm running away from is not because I don't like to do this stuff. Right. It's like I see my head and I have all these ideas, and it's exciting. And I know I would really love to do these things, but that path to get there, I'm making in my head so much harder than it has to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, you're being sabotaged by your brain because you're
100%,
trying to do something 100%. Different.
Well, and I think there's a lot of different reasons. I think I'm trying to do something different, and so basically I'm getting out of my comfort zone is what I've really realized this week, right? So I'm trying to be uncomfortable, right? My comfort zone, of course, all of our primitive instincts kind of stem from like, make money, or live long, right? Reproduce, like those kind of things, like find food, find shelter, it's really anything like that. Your brain is like, no, we're comfortable where we are. We've done the hard work. We're here. this is good enough for us. But I think I want to keep going and keep pushing. And I didn't even know this. And so I found this actually like really cool graph. Actually, I'm going to try to screen share.
Oh boy, we are jumping in the tech world here.
Yeah.
Screen share.
I have literally never screen shared before, so just bear with me. So I found this really cool graphic. Basically, and don't mind my messy desktop. my messy desktop.
Desktop.
So basically, it's a really cool graphic. I think I got it on like psychologytoday.com or something like that. And I can link to it on the Instagram. But the comfort zone, there's 4 levels of growing. And I didn't even know this, right? And I thought this was really interesting because I think in my head, I see it as, and I've talked about this metaphor before, as I see it as a big mountain to climb, or at least my brain sees it as a big mountain to climb. And we don't want to climb that mountain. We want to go, forward. And so basically in my head, these 4 levels, these 4 zones, right, are ginormous to get through, but really it's just pushing through and getting them done. So really the comfort zone, right? That's your first level. That's where we're all in. It's the feel safe. We're in control. It's where we are now. And then it starts to get into the stuff that is tough, is really, really hard. So the next level is the fear zone. And I think this is part of like where I'm at right now with like the uncomfortability. I'm kind of like wanting to push back on that uncomfortable feeling. The fear zone is affected by others' opinions, right? Thinking of what others, defining yourself through others' eyes, thinking of what others think. You find excuses, you lack self-confidence. That is like a lot of what my mental thing has been dealing with these new up and coming challenges, right? It's not my whole life that's in this fear zone. I should say that I have a great life. It's just like when it comes to my business, right? I've been like for the last year and a half, really trying to figure out what I want to do and how I want to do it. And so I have these ideas, but it's like so uncomfortable to start working on these ideas, right? Does that make sense? And
yeah, no, I get that.
And anyway, and so the next level, the next zone is the learning zone. And so I'm kind of in a mixture of the last zone, the fear zone, and this zone. And then, so I'm dealing with challenges and problems, right? So what comes up, I'm acquiring new skills. I'm extending the comfort zone. So I feel like, I can't remember his name. Do you remember that free solo documentary? Did you ever watch that?
Yes,
Hubble, I think his name is. He was saying, he's like, I pushed my comfort zone. Hammond or something like that. I pushed my comfort zone into like so many levels that basically it's, anything that I've wanted to do is now in my comfort zone. He's like, I don't see that stuff as hard anymore like I used to. I mean, the guy free solos El Capitan and freaking giant mountains with no rope or anything, just him. And so that's insane that he's like, oh, that's everything's in my comfort zone. So then the last zone that we're all striving to get when we're focusing on something new is the growth zone. And so it's finding purpose. You live your dreams, you set new goals, you realize your aspirations. So that's the 4 different zones, which I thought was really interesting because it's like, my little one word, being uncomfortable, right? Really at the end of it leads to growth. So you have your comfort zone, you're where everybody is, but then you push past your comfort zone. You're in the fear zone, you're in the learning zone, and then you're in the growth zone. And then that's where you really start to see things start to take off. And so it's really those 2, because it's like, that unmotivatedness that, oh man, I'm not getting anywhere in life, I'm not really doing anything, is actually if you're working towards stuff, is really good to be in there. And I think that's where our brains, especially mine, is just like, well, you're fucking done. Like, you suck, it's over. You tried. Good luck. Let's go back. But it's like, no, if we just keep going through, that's when we actually start to see the growth. And so I think that was kind of an interesting revelation for me this week. It's just the way that I'm approaching my growth. And so like finding this little graph, this little like 4 different zones really kind of helped me visualize it better. instead of just like this huge mountain, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it all makes sense. Like I look at it and I'm like, okay, I've experienced each of these. The one thing, like, I'm looking for like habits in here, because like the habits, I think, is what I don't know. Like, an example of this would be like, today I took a shower, right? After I worked out.
Good for you. Good for you.
I couldn't help but push the water to cold, because I've just been doing like cold showers. And I was like, a hot shower does not feel like it used to. I used to love a hot shower and like sitting there and think. Now I'm like, I want to turn it to cold because I'm feeling comfortable.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
I know that I'm like, my uncomfortableness is now where I'm starting to feel comfortable, because that's the normal, because that's what I've done, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm starting to make these like changes where being uncomfortable is now the norm. And so I kind of like, that's just what I'm used to. And so
yeah,
like,
you're extending that comfort zone.
Yeah. And so like,
mean,
when you read that thing, like he says, I push my comfort zone, you know, the guy climbs, I mean, literally could die with the slip of a finger, like, and then his life's over.
Yep.
So his comfort zone is obviously he could handle Alex
Hummel. Yeah.
Hummel.
We're gonna spend like 5 minutes just trying to figure out his name. We'll figure it out. Someone will yell at us.
Yeah, it's true. So no, I mean, I like that, because I just think so many people are afraid of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because our lives are so.
Well, I think that's the thing too. I was thinking about this, like, as I was kind of looking it up. Really, I started it because I was like, what are the things I really need to do to push past my comfort zone? Ugh, can't talk.
Sure.
What are the things I need to do? And of course, it's like the things that I'm starting to do already. Like we talked about last week, is like change your morning routine, you know, really start your day off right. And I'm like, oh, wow. And so I feel like that's kind of why I'm feeling some of this resistance, this uncomfortableness. But I think also is like my brain is starting to change it to it's being okay with being uncomfortable. I think that's the main thing, is like Alicia always says, is like, what are the emotions you're feeling? What, you know, and like feel those, like be okay feeling those emotions. And I think at least for me as a guy, I'm like always like, no emotions. But I think that's a thing that's like, we need to get into the nitty gritty and like feel those uncomfortable emotions, even if like we don't want to, because I think from that is when we really start to see the growth in our lives.
Yeah.
It got real deep. It got real deep.
Yeah, I bury those emotions. They're dead. They're buried. No, I think it's good. Yeah, you embrace all your emotions. You know, you gotta explore that stuff. Seeing therapists or going to therapy.
Yeah.
Is something to not be like ashamed of. And I think there's been a really good surge in the idea that is something that shouldn't be shunned, and we should embrace. If you need to talk to somebody about emotions or feelings or thoughts you have, like, I say go for it. What's the worst that could happen?
Bingo. Well, speaking of mental health and men's mental health, I think that kind of really segues into the next topic, is a game. I stumbled upon this game on Instagram, and it's called Let's Get Real, Bro. Right? Let's get real, bro.
Let's get real, bro.
Yes.
Okay.
And so this game, it's a card game, and each person gets like 7 cards, and there's like several different levels. And so there's 3 different levels of these cards. It's blue card, a yellow card, and red card. And I thought we'd talk about this game, and then I'll ask you some of the questions that are on the card. Now, the whole idea for this card game is to actually have guys talk about their emotions, their feelings, and talk it out instead of just bottling it up, because it is very important. And so the level 1 is like the blue card. It's the kind of real, right? So we're getting kind of real. And level 2 is pretty real. All right, we're getting pretty real here. And level 3 is
Kinda pretty.
super fucking real. That's number 3. So it's that kind of game.
The
It's like,
SFR. Okay.
they say it's Cards Against Humanity meets your therapist, right? I thought that was really interesting. But I thought I would just kind of quickly go through some of these like questions, and then we could talk about them. So let's start with one. Level 1. What's the furthest you have ever gone in the name of love, a crush, or getting laid?
The furthest I have gone.
Yeah.
Whew. I'd probably say getting married.
I was going to say, man, I think that is a huge thing.
It is.
Being uncomfortable is another thing too. Actually, it's funny that we're talking about that.
Yeah. Love's a weird thing. I think we all react to it differently and do stupid things for it, or what we think is love. The biggest thing I can think of is trusting the next person after somebody has broken your trust. That's like my biggest thing that I feel is the hardest.
Yeah.
Somebody cheats on you, somebody lies to you, whatever.
I
That
could see
next
that.
relationship is super hard, because I mean, I've been through that, but like, it's just like, are you cheating on me? Or are you lying to me?
That
or
sucks,
it's just
dude.
like, I agree. But I mean, like, if you think about it, everybody, well, not everybody, most everybody will face that kind of situation. And
Yeah, I can see that.
it's just, I will say, just to answer the question, marriage would be about as far as I've gone to the lengths for love.
I was going to say, I think my answer would probably, like just thinking about it, would be like our arguments and getting through those, because I feel like that in my head has been such a hard thing to do, because usually if we would have arguments, or like another relationship, I would have arguments, I'd be like, see ya. Yeah. But like this one, of course, it was like, so, of course I wanted to work for it, and I was willing to push myself. And like, that was the thing. It was like arguments. I was like, you know what? This is the stuff that I have to go through.
Fighting for.
This is the uncomfortableness. Yeah. And I'm here, baby. I'm here.
And by the way, Alicia, see ya.
Yeah.
I don't mean it. I don't mean it.
Oh, I know. Level 2 is
Sort
pretty
of real,
right?
Pretty real. Sorry.
Pretty real. When was the happiest, most fulfilled period of your life? End question. And another question: why do you think that is? So, when was the happiest, most fulfilled period of your life?
I will say.
Well, maybe we can actually strip this down and be like, maybe let's just do it like in business. Because I think there's so many different things that happen on so many different levels.
I agree. But like, something should stick in your head. And we don't have like 5 hours to talk about. I would just say the week of my 30th birthday, my bachelor party, and my wedding. Like that was just like everything lined. Yep. I was just buying a house too.
You became an adult.
I became a person.
Just in 1 week, bro. You went from like being single, or at least having, being engaged, to being married, having a step kid, having
no house to live to
a
house,
3
like everything
in front of your numbers. Like, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of change.
Yeah. So that was definitely a time of great fulfillment of like, felt like I was supposed to be doing stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I keep coming back to in my head is Cut and Caliber. I'm speaking
launch
like
party.
I'm just speaking technically about business stuff. Because like I think another thing too, like a lot of people say like, oh, look back at your life and figure out where you like did the most, like you were excited about, right? And look at those things and then do those again, do more of those. And I think Cut and Caliber launch party was literally probably top thing that we've ever done together in my head. Right. Yeah. It was huge success. And also it was just such a fun night. And it was something that no one had ever seen in Anchorage before, which I think was really, really good. And if you want to know more about that, you can ask us questions, but we don't need to go into detail. And then another thing was when I was vlogging, it was like, that was like really fulfilling for me, but also at the same time was really, really hard, fulfilling creatively, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I think those are
hard stuff feels good though, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, like,
especially looking back on it, I would say.
Looking back at me.
Oh no.
There it
No,
is,
no,
baby.
no.
Is that the first one of 2022? It might be, actually. It might be.
And it's weird. I still regret it, even though it's 2022.
I mean, I did it. Here's no, this is getting super fucking real, right? And this is now I can ask another question before. Well, do you want me to ask easy question or hard question? Let me give you the choice.
I'm an open book.
All right, here's an easy one. Let's just go easy.
Pass.
We can go hard for the last one. What's the dumbest thing you did as a kid?
Ooh, God, I did a lot of dumb stuff.
I was gonna say, man, I can't even think of one, but because I have so many.
I had some serious issues with playing with fire a lot of times.
Oh,
I wouldn't say this is probably the biggest.
more.
I could think back. Okay, so having a stepson who's 12 years old right now, you look at a lot of things he's doing. You're like, man, I would freaking never do that. That's dumb. Don't do that. And then I'm like, God, I was lighting my arms on fire, like out at camp all the time. Like bug spray it up. Like, just doing stupid stuff.
Oh yeah.
I would say, I don't know, probably like we made some fires out with gasoline, like when we were like 10 in the middle of the road. Like we filled up buckets.
Gosh.
And just like stuff that if I would have seen as an adult now, looking at like a 10-year-old kid with like making a bonfire in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
I would be like, that kid's headed for jail.
Oh, oh gosh. Oh, bro. Yeah. No, 100%. You little arson. You.
God.
Kyle, the little arson Redding.
I think that's why I love serial killer stuff, because I look at what causes them and I'd be like, you know what? I need to stay away from doing any of this kind of stuff that they all do. They always play with fire. They hurt animals, which I don't. That's a no-go.
I was gonna say that is like, strong tell.
100%. And I don't want an animal to own, but I don't like the idea that people would ever hurt an animal on purpose.
I hate it. I hate it.
So I'm in the clear.
Man, I can't really think of the dumbest things I've done. I did a lot of dumb things for attention.
We all do, yeah.
I mean, like one thing that, man, this actually is like, whenever I think of like something stupid I did, it was I don't know why I haven't really told many people this, but I thought it was so cool, right? So I would go to youth group on Wednesday nights, right, at church, and there was a group of kids that I would be like, I wanted to be a part of, the popular kids, if you will, and so I don't know where I got this from. I have no idea where, but I would wear like big baggy shirts, kind of like Tommy Hilfiger, right? Loved the kind of like I thought that was like the coolest
Jinko jeans.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I would definitely wear a type of Jinko jeans, but what I would do, oh God, this is so embarrassing. And it's not the dumbest thing I did as a kid, but it's just like, when I think about it, and I did it consistently, it's just a weird fucking thing, and it keeps me up at night. I'm probably not going to sleep tonight. So I would take the shirt and I would just like kind of flip it up to like show off my
abs,
stomach. I don't know, dude.
Oh my God.
I don't know what
I'm
the point
embarrassed
was.
for you.
I don't know why I would do that. It was just kind of like, I think I saw some show or something, and it was just like, they would just like flip it up, like whatever, I don't care. And like, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, that'll get me in this group. And so it was multiple. I mean, like and no one said anything. That's the thing. That's on them. Someone should have
called you out.
They should have been like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, stop that. Like, this is church. Like, this is youth group. Like, we don't need to do that stuff. Oh man, that was, I look at that now and that's very embarrassing. It's one of the dumbest things I've definitely done.
I have one similar that I just have to get off my chest.
Oh yes, please do. Because that makes me feel bad.
So back in my skateboarder days, when I was probably like 10, 11, wearing like pipes, I think they were called, the shorts that kind of went down to your shins.
Yeah.
I always saw kids with chains going from like their belt loop to their wallet. You wear the chain down the side. And I always wanted that, but I was mistaken. I thought it was a pocket watch. So I got a pocket watch.
Yeah. Oh, you're so cool, dude.
I
You're
had a
so
gold pocket watch with a train on it, and that I would have in my pocket and attach it to my jeans. So I had this gold chain, and it was attached to a wall. Yeah,
people
would be like, what's that there? And then I'd be like,
oh, this thing. This
hello,
whole thing?
my lady. Do you need the time?
Oh, this whole thing. Oh my
God.
gosh, dude. That's so funny. Did you
Just
think you were
memories
being?
like that.
Did you think
I thought I was
cool too?
so freaking cool.
See, what is it about? Like, I mean, like in my head, I was the coolest thing, flipping up my shirt, showing off my dad bod at freaking 9 years old or whatever I was in.
I had a flipping pocket watch I was pulling out.
Man, we were so cool. What happened?
We should reenact.
Happen?
We should reenact these.
That would be a funny video.
Yeah.
If we like, I could see like an animation. You know how like they have podcasts and they have like animation. I could totally see that as like, you see
ladies,
little Steven with a Tommy Hilfiger shirt, just flipping out. It wasn't like I was holding it there and like flashing people. It was I was just like
out.
I was just airing it out. I was just like, boop, and then that was it. It wasn't really. I was like doing it to show anybody my what I got, it's my goods.
It's just to give them a glimpse.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. Okay, now this one. Let's try to find. Here's a super fucking real one, right? This is a level 3. Now, this is the last question we're going to do.
Yeah.
You've got 5 years left to live. What changes and why?
See, I always think about this
tough.
Constantly because I'm always thinking about death.
Mm-hmm.
And I make sure people know that. And then they look at me really weird and they say
know.
you're dark.
We've talked about that, though.
I don't care.
You're actually practicing stoicism.
I know. I'm doing the right
You're
thing.
practicing a philosophy that's been taught for thousands of years. So you're actually doing the right thing.
And I don't think I would change very much, I would, which means that I'm trying to live a life where like I could die at any moment.
Yeah.
I would probably do the obvious things of spending some more time with family and do a few more bucket list trips.
That goes without even saying.
But realistically, I don't think I would change a thing. I would still want to do the podcast.
Yeah.
I'd still want to like create stuff. I'd still want to be with my family. I would still want to golf. Like I think that's a good indication. If you come up with a different answer than what you're doing, then you need to change it.
Yeah.
Like, there's little things.
I think that's good because like when I read this question, as I was like looking up this game, the thing that came to my mind, and it's probably because of this week, I've been going through that transformation of uncomfortableness and trying to be, and being okay with it, is through talking with Alicia. I do too much. I do way too much. I think, I want to, work on the podcast, but then I want to work on this and I want to work on that, but I also want to change up my business. I also want to change up the content that I make personally, but I also want to be a filmmaker. I also want to do this. And so it was like, she was like, you're doing way too fucking much. Like you need to pick one thing for right now and go with that. I think that's what I would. And I think that is like the thing that like I struggle with is like, I want to do it all. Right. That's why I've never been like, oh, I'm just a musician or, oh, I'm just a filmmaker or whatever. It's like, no, I'm a filmmaker, designer, musician. I'm a filmmaker, designer. I'm a videographer, musician. Right. I've never picked up one thing. So I think that would be the thing that I would want to change. And I'm going to. It's just like, I need to focus on one thing or at least 1.5 or 2 or 3 things and just do them really well,
Yeah.
But no, seriously.
You need to do fewer things. Yeah, I got you.
Yes. Fewer things. Because I think that's another, going back to like the last segment, we were talking about like, that adds to that mountain. Right. And so once you start to like take stuff off, the mountain starts to go down and you're like, oh, that's actually very achievable.
That's a hill.
Yeah. It's nothing. But I think that's another thing is like, that's probably one thing I would do. Also drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of water. So I'm going to do that. I do want to give a shout out to that game really quick. And it's called Let's Get Real Bro, and it's on Instagram at LGR Bro. So LGR,
Okay.
bro. Basically, the game is on a mission to support men's mental health, strengthen our relationships, and have a bit of fun along the way. So anyway, go check it out. Let's Get Real Bro on Instagram and TikTok, and let's go at realbro.com.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our episode right there. We've talked a little bit about, Super Bowl squares. We've talked about fleshlights. I didn't think that was going to come up, but you know what?
I didn't either, man.
They always find a way into the conversation.
It was some good bunny trails today.
Yeah. We talked about getting out of our comfort zone and what we need to do to kind of proceed through all of that stuff of being just awkward. And then
we got
a nice
real
little diagram. Yeah.
Then we got real, dude.
Yeah. What's going to happen if you
some
die in
questions.
5 years?
That's
are you
the
gonna
real
do?
question. That's
Who's going to kill me? Who is it?
What was
Tell
it?
me their name.
What was it? Someone was
Dwight.
saying like, there's like, you're going to get stabbed when you were 73. I was a podcast I was listening to. And I was just like, oh man, that guy's got an interesting next few years. Let's go.
Yeah. And in the office, Dwight's like, yes, I want to be put on ice. And so that when they unfreeze me one day, I'll know what hold he had me in or something about when he died. Classic Office. But we want to just thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I know this one's a little different than when we're usually face to face, but you know what? We got to adapt with the times, and we hope you guys will too. This opens up the door to interviews and sharing this podcast with other people. And you can always find us on all the social medias. We are attacking real. Steven's been knocking it out of the park, posting reels almost daily. We're going to be doing our TikToks. We're going to be doing Facebooks. We're going to be doing all the social medias.
Yeah. So follow us, man. It's Go Fix Yourself Podcast, especially on Instagram right now, because that's where I'm focusing my time and my efforts on. But we'd love to see you back here next Monday.
Yeah, and you guys have a good rest of your week, and we love you. We miss you, and be sure and get out of that comfort zone and take a cold shower and just watch every part on your body just shrivel up a little small.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Kyle and Steven will be back with a new episode next week. In the meantime, check out gofixyourselfpodcast.com. And remember to always go fix yourself.